Hello everyone, another list review. This one was sent to me by Alex, who has been playing Bold Action for the last 2 years-ish, and he is playing Italians. And yes, Alex, I am not a huge fan of Italians, but that is based on my my starting point for going to Bold Action. I am a competitive player. That is what I do with Bold Action. I do lots of other stuff for my other hobby needs, but with Bold Action, that is my competitive game. And as such, the Italians annoy me because their rules are just not very beneficial, are they? Um, and I think they should be because Italy was one of the major powers of the Second World War, and they fought before the Second World War and all the way almost to the end. Um, and they even fought on different sides. So there's just so much, and they fought in different theaters of the war. They fought in East Africa, in North Africa with Rommel, and they fought in Europe as well, in the Balkans and Greece on the Eastern Front. They fought every bloody where. I think they should be more interesting, but for me as a competitive player, they're not. So, but I do love people trying to make Italy competitive, and I have been following with great interest the workings of Lorenzo with his version 2 of Italy. I really like that. And I am also still looking for players to do well in tournaments with Italy. We had one tournament in Denmark this last year it was a rookie tournament. It was won by a rookie using an Italian army. But maybe you can't take that for anything more than just a freak because it with rookies it's always it's not like players are just you get weird results sometimes, right? When newbies are playing the game and they're the only ones who can win. Right, let's go and watch his list, shall we? So this is it: a Fusilieri reinforced platoon, 14 order dice, 998 points. 14 order dice is pretty nifty. I like that. That's a good place to be. Inexperienced second lieutenant, yes, but you're going to have to keep him alive because that is a liability. So try to find him somewhere to stand where he won't get in the way and where he can actually do something with his morale bonus. Inexperienced infantry sections, green. These are backline holders. I like them. They are pretty cheap and they boost your order dice count. And then the Guastatori destruction groups. The Guastatoris are really cool, especially because they can take double flamethrower. But for a regular group of what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 men. 6 men, 128 points. That's more expensive than if I buy an 8-man unit of Gurkhas. So they are going to have to destroy something. Otherwise, you're wasting a lot of points here, right? But they can, of course, destroy something. They're pretty likely to kill whatever they're aimed at. But they're also very vulnerable being regulars. We have another backline holder here. This was one with an LMG. For me, I'm not a fan of LMGs, but you probably know that if you've been following my channel any length of time. But in backline infantry, it sometimes is nice to have something that you can reach out and just deliver a few pins with. So in that respect, I understand why you're buying it. I just think it's too expensive. And then Pereduchichi. Now, Paras are really good, especially late war Paras. These are not, however, late war Paras. These are just the regular Paras. 2 riflemen, stubborn, and 6 submachine guns. So they're very big units. This one has only 5 submachine guns, but they're still very big units, and they are good push units. And because they are stubborn, they can pretty much survive any sort of flamethrower being thrown at them. These are really good units, and you can easily take objectives with them. I would run them side by side, and I also like the fact that your NCO has a rifle because that means that if an enemy sniper shoots at you, kills one man, then he's going to have to make a choice. Do you take out a submachine gun or do you kill the NCO? What's more important? Like that. That's a nifty little trick. Right. We have a regular mortar with a spotter, a flamethrower regular. Nice to have that, but you're going to need some transport for both the Guastatoris and the flamethrower here. Double light arty, yes, really cool. and I would run these. Most of the time, I would be sitting these where they are in cover, so they won't be able to move, but they sit inside cover in a ruin or in a forest, and then just shoot one line, close that one line down, and if nothing comes into that line, you're shooting indirectly. Simovente. Now, the Simovente is 100 points. It's 7 plus. It's vulnerable and open topped. In that respect, it's not very strong. It has a light anti-tank gun and a pintle-mounted MMG. Um, for me, this is too expensive for a tank that's open topped and 7 plus. It's really rather thin at 100 points. I would rather buy the well, in German it's called the Polizeitank. Can't remember what it's called in the Italian army, but you can get that darker tank that has like 20 machine gun shots or something like that. That's more useful than this at 100 points, I think. But then again, if you're using this and if you know how to use it, then that is more useful than buying something that you're not comfortable with. So always that caveat. 2 trucks, one to transport his Guastatories, one to transport his flamethrower, I think, and maybe stick in a few of the Peras as well, because you can. And that will make a pretty good push fleet of transports. And once they've unloaded their nastiness, their Peras and their Guastatories, they can of course sit there and just shoot the MMGs. Really, really nice. I like this. This is a nice Italian list. I am not a fan of the Simovente, but that is basically the only thing that I will criticize a little bit. I like the fact that you have stuff that you can stick in your back lines. Just be mindful of outflanks because your back line is pretty weak. Right. Thank you so much for the list, Alex, and good luck. Cheers.